This is probably going to be one of those where here's the blooper. All right, here we go, folks. Have you ever found yourself getting worked up about a situation at work that initially didn't bother you, but after weeks of hearing your coworkers complain, you started feeling stressed about it too, even though it was more their issue than yours? In this video, I will share 4 essential questions to help you understand why certain stressors trigger you and how you can take your power back when it comes to managing stress. You really want to watch this one, folks. Welcome to the Agile Leader channel with me, Pia Fitzgerald, where we specialize in boosting confidence, expanding connections, and enhancing collaboration. Understanding how different environments influence our stress responses can help us build these qualities. Our early experiences with family, interactions with colleagues, and relationships with friends all shape how we manage stress. By examining these influences, we can identify patterns and behaviors that affect our well-being and performance. For example, if you grew up in a family where stress was handled through confrontation, you might find yourself adopting a similar approach at work with your friends when it comes to managing stress. You might be that person, I'm about to check her, or whatever people say. I apologize, but that might have been something that this is how we deal with stress at home, and it has trickled out into the workplace. We want to be mindful of that. The psychological term for understanding how our environment and social interactions influence our behavior and stress responses is called social learning theory. This theory, proposed by Albert Bandura, suggests that people learn behaviors, attitudes, and emotional reactions through observing and imitating others, especially those in our immediate circle or in our family. Understanding how you manage stress and examining your circle of influence involves recognizing patterns and influences in your immediate environment. Recognizing these patterns allows you to make conscious changes that foster a more effective approach to stress management, making it easier for you to connect and collaborate with others. So here are 4 questions and why they matter. Question number 1. How does your family respond to stress? Take a moment and write that down. Think about it. How does your family respond to stress? Your family is often your first and most influential environment. The way your family members respond to stress can shape your initial understanding and habits around stress management. Observing how your family deals with stress can reveal patterns or coping mechanisms that you may have adopted, either consciously or unconsciously. Maybe your family, I know for mine, my mom was, let's go shopping. I didn't realize that was a stress response, but now I do. And I had to, when I became aware of it, definitely had to break it. If you grew up in a family where stress was handled by shouting, arguing, you might find yourself the tendency to be confrontational when you're stressed. Conversely, if your family dealt with stress by avoiding the issue and not talking about it, you might find yourself using avoidance as a coping mechanism, none of which is good for collaborating and building connections. Number 2, how do your colleagues respond to stress? Colleagues' responses to stress can affect the overall atmosphere in your workplace. Understanding this dynamic can help you navigate and possibly improve your work environment. You might find yourself mimicking these stress responses of those around you in a professional setting. Analyzing this can help you identify and potentially identify some good coping mechanisms. If your colleagues often take breaks and use humor to diffuse stressful situations, you might find yourself adopting these habits, like by taking a short walk or, maybe using a lot of jokes to help you manage stress better. On the other hand, if your colleagues often stay late and work through their breaks and lunch hours, all of that nonsense. Because yes, I'm going to say it, working through your breaks and through your lunch, it's nonsense and foolishness, because at some point you will pay the piper. But you might, if they're doing that, and that's a culture where people kind of burn themselves out, you're going to find yourself doing the same. And it will lead to burnout. Number 3, how do your friends respond to stress? Friends often provide a significant source of support. Knowing their stress responses can help you understand how they might support you and how maybe you can support them. Friends often share coping strategies. Recognizing these shared responses can help you assess whether these strategies are healthy and effective. If your friends tend to engage in physical activities like going to the gym or hiking to relieve stress, you might find yourself joining them and benefiting from the same stress relief methods. If your friends cope with stress by drinking alcohol or engaging in other unhealthy behaviors, you might find it harder to avoid these habits yourself, impacting your health negatively. Now, let me say something about this alcohol. I am not villainizing alcohol. Listen, I have some really wonderful sweet reds in my on my wine rack. I'm just saying. Sometimes we need it to cool down, but sometimes we enjoy it and it helps us calm down, but we don't want it to be a crutch. Okay. And I'm saying it like that because there have been times where even I had to say, oh, no. We can't go to the wine, even though we want to. So let me just make sure I'm being responsible and transparent to say we want to make sure we're being intentional about that. Number 4, what similarities do you notice between your response to stress and the stress response of those around you? This question promotes self-awareness by encouraging you to compare your reactions with those of your family, friends, and colleagues. It helps you identify whether you have adopted beneficial or detrimental stress management techniques. Noticing similarities can highlight specific influences in your life and allow you to make more conscious decisions about how you handle stress. If you notice unhealthy patterns, you can work towards changing them. Understanding these similarities can be a first step towards personal growth by recognizing where your stress responses come from. You can work on developing healthier coping mechanisms and improving your overall well-being. If you notice that you tend to withdraw and not communicate when stressed, you can recognize this pattern and actively work on improving your communication during stressful times. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't mean you take a moment and pause and step out of it for a second. But if it's done and then there's no progress and you just keep stuffing it, that's where it becomes unhealthy. If you observe that you turn to caffeine and long hours at your desk, similar to your colleagues, you might decide to implement healthier habits like taking regular breaks and maybe drinking water instead. Again, we're not villainizing coffee. I love my liquid warm hug in a cup. But again, this is about being mindful of when we're drinking. It's about being intentional and not by default. All right. Realizing that your family tends to avoid discussing stressful topics and noticing that you do the same, you could decide to initiate more open conversations about stress with your family members, promoting a healthier way to deal with stress collectively. Noticing that both you and your colleagues skip meals and work late during stressful periods, you could propose a healthier approach, such as scheduling regular meals and breaks to ensure everyone leaves work on time. This goes a long way to improving not just your well-being, but the collective well-being of the team. Yay for you! By understanding these examples and recognizing patterns in your stress responses, you can make more informed decisions about adopting healthier stress management techniques and breaking negative cycles. Examining these questions, your answers to these questions, it gives you a comprehensive understanding of your stress responses and the external influences that shape them. Also might mean maybe you need to get another job somewhere else, but I digress. This awareness can be foundational for developing more effective and healthier stress management strategies. All right, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you will be alerted when we release future videos on this topic because they are coming and they are good. Also, leave your comments and questions below sharing the impact of your family and friends on your stress response. Are their stress responses helpful? I'd like to hear about that. But before I leave, let me gift you with a little chuckle. Why did the map never get stressed? Because it always knew where to draw the line. All right. Go ahead and like and share this video so others can take that critical look about their stress responses. And thank you for watching and have a winning week. Bye-bye.